Have you ever felt like getting cinematic drone shots is just too complicated? You're trying to juggle flying, you're trying to use camera settings and framing all at once. What if the real secret happens before you even hit record? In this video, I'm going to show you 6 simple composition setups, including one technique at the end that always gives me the best results, so you can get pro-looking footage with no advanced skills needed. Beginners almost always fly directly at something, straight at a building, straight down a road, and the problem is it can end up looking like dashcam footage. Not exactly cinematic all the time. So here's something that completely changed the way that I shoot video. 80% of Hollywood filmmaking is shot on a tripod, and I started thinking, a drone can go places a tripod never could. So what if I just treated the drone as a flying tripod? And that's exactly what this next technique does. Instead of flying at something, you're going to park the drone and let the scene do the work. It's called a corner-to-corner composition, or a diagonal, and the idea is really simple. You position the drone so that a road, a shoreline, a fence line, or a pier runs diagonally from one corner of the frame all the way to the opposite corner. Take my shot of this harbour for instance. You can see the piers travelling diagonally from corner to corner. Because the drone isn't moving, your eye just travels naturally along that line, and you start to notice the subtle things. The movement of the water, or the light on the surface for instance. Or this shot of Melbourne City. I'm using the road as the diagonal here, with the cars moving along it. The scene has life in it without the drone even moving. So treat it like you're taking a photo. Take your time, get it framed perfectly, then hit record. Now corner to corner works brilliantly when you've got a clear line to work with, but what happens when the scene in front of you feels too open and empty? And that's where the next technique comes in. Drone shots can often feel disconnected, and the reason is usually the same thing. They're too high, too clean, and there's nothing in the foreground. You're just floating in midair with nothing to hold on to. I used to shoot wide shots exactly like that, and quite often they just felt uninspiring no matter how good the location was. So I started experimenting, hovering behind tree branches, building edges, anything I could put between the lens and the scene. And I also realized something else. That natural micro movement of the drone, the subtle sway while it's holding position, suddenly made everything look like it was shot on a high budget production. And this is what's called the dirty frame. In this first shot you can see what I mean. The light catching the branches, a duck moving through the water, the surface is shifting. The drone isn't going anywhere, but the scene has life in it. Now take this second shot with the tower. I've put it in the corner of the frame, and what that does is give the scene 3 layers. The tower up close, the boat sitting in the middle, and the ocean stretching out beyond that. And because the drone is just hovering there, you feel like you're peeking into the scene rather than floating above it. And that's what creates cinematic depth. With shots like these, you can just sit there and take it all in. The sound of the wind, the waves, the whole scene plays out in your head. So the dirty frame gives you depth by adding something in the foreground, but there's another framing decision that trips up almost every beginner, and it's got nothing to do with what's in front of the lens. As a beginner, you'll often place the horizon right in the middle of the frame, and that can sometimes split the energy of the shot. And coming from a photography background, I learned that a centered horizon is something a lot of photographers frown upon because it doesn't follow the rule of thirds. We'll cover the rule of thirds in a minute, but I actually think the centered horizon has its place, and I'm going to show you exactly when to use it. Now normally you'll have a sky that looks amazing or something on the ground that looks amazing, so you'd favour one over the other and devote 2/3 of the frame to it. But sometimes the sky and the ground both look great at the same time. That's when the centered horizon works best. Like this shot at Lake Tyrrell Salt Lake in Victoria, I had the drone hovering just above the water, and you can see the ripples from the propellers in the surface. Now in this shot, the sky and the water look equally good, so a centered horizon is exactly right here. Or the shot at Powlett River in Victoria, the wind is moving the water and the seaweed, but the landscape beyond is just as interesting. So splitting the frame equally lets both breathe. And here's the thing about keeping the drone still, it actually makes everything look bigger. Like this shot of Melbourne City with the sporting arenas in the foreground. And because the drone isn't moving, your eye has time to travel across the whole scene. The arenas, the city behind them, the sky above it all. The moment you start flying toward it, some of that scale disappears. Staying still is what makes it feel infinite. Now getting the horizon right is one piece of the puzzle, but even with a perfect horizon, a lot of beginners are still getting shaky, unusable footage, and the reason might surprise you. When you're starting out, you might start to follow subjects using the tracking, like tracking a car, chasing a person, panning across a scene, and the problem you'll face is what I call stick twitch. Those little movements when you're flying feel small, but on a bigger screen, every micro movement is obvious. And I used to do exactly this. I used to try tracking cars, winding down a road, thinking my small adjustments wouldn't be noticed. They always were, of course, and jerky stick inputs just ruin it. But here's what I figured out. If you find a great leading line, a road, a bridge, a jetty, a path, anything, you don't need to move the drone at all because the scene does everything for you. Like this shot on the way to Trentham Falls in Victoria. There's a winding road, fog rolling through, and cars moving along it. And this shot is pure cinema and the drone never moved once. Or this shot of Long Jetty at dusk. The jetty is lit up and there's a silhouette of people walking along it towards the camera. All I did was park the drone and let them walk into the frame. Or this shot of the beach. The wet sand is one leading line, the waves moving in are another, and your eye travels straight through the middle of the frame. And I even caught the shadow of a bird flying through as well. And there's so much movement in that shot, and all without moving the drone at all. Leading lines take care of the problem when your subject is moving through the frame, but what about when you want to feature something that isn't moving, something that's still? There's a simple grid that tells you exactly where to place it, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. If the drone is moving and the subject is moving, you sometimes don't know where to look. I've had shots where I was orbiting a person and trying to follow the rules of thirds at the same time, and because we were both moving, the composition was just a fat mess. Your eye just doesn't know where to land. So I just stopped moving the drone. Like this shot at Port Albert in Victoria, I've got two sets of boats roughly sitting on the two vertical third lines. That harmonized framing combined with the subtle movement of the water and the color of this scene is what makes it so interesting. Or this shot of the ocean and the coastline. I've positioned the tall trees on a vertical line and the horizon on a horizontal line. The only thing that tells you that this isn't a photograph is the movement in the water. Or this wind turbine shot at Wonthaggi in Victoria. The two turbines closest to the camera are each sitting on intersecting lines of the rule of thirds grid. The drone isn't going anywhere, but the frame feels alive. And that's the rule of thirds working exactly as it should. Find your element, place it on the third line, park the drone, and let the stillness make the movement feel perfect. The rule of thirds works in any direction, left, right, up or down, but there's one angle most beginners never think to try, and it produces some of the most cinematic footage you'll ever shoot. Beginners are always told they need a fancy gimbal move to get a pro look, but some of my favourite shots weren't complex maneuvers at all, just the drone pointing straight down over a forest or a shoreline, completely still. Like this shot of a coastline on the Great Ocean Road in Victoria. The road and the shoreline of rocks follow the same path, the cars on the road and the waves provide all the movement. The drone never moves once. Or this shot of waves on a beach framed diagonally. It's mesmerizing to watch, and all I did was point the camera straight down and hover. And because your drone isn't moving, you forget the camera is even there. You feel more connected to a scene in a way that a flying shot never quite does. And here's a bonus, because you didn't lock in a camera move when you were filming, you can add a slow zoom in your editing software later if you want to, giving you total control over how the shot feels long after you've landed the drone. There's one more habit I want you to build that ties all 6 of these techniques together, and it's the simplest one. I used to stop recording the moment I thought I had the shot, and when I got into the edit, my clips were just too short to work with. So now I use what I call the 10-second rule. Once you've picked your composition, whether that's a diagonal or top down or a leading line, any of them, hit record and count to 10 Mississippis before you stop recording. It gives you a clean chunk of footage that's actually usable in the edit, and here's the bonus. If something unexpected happens while you're hovering, you'll probably catch it. A bird flying through, a wave breaking at the right moment, a car rounding the bend. Those are the moments that make a shot feel alive, and you'll only get them if you're still rolling. Now, if you want to take things further and start adding some movement to your shots, I've put together a video on 5 cinematic drone moves you can do on auto. No complex settings, no experience needed. So hit that video next and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Also, people have been commenting on my shirts, so I thought I'd show you what the actual shirt looks like. That's the full shirt. It's pretty cool, huh?